My mother told me my father died when I was 6. I just found out he's alive with a whole new family. I remembered the closed casket funeral and the way my mother sobbed and the relatives whispering about how tragic it all was. And I remembered her moving us to a new town because she couldn't bear the memories. She raised me alone and I visited his grave every year to leave flowers and tell him about my life. So when an ancestry test matched me with half-siblings I had never heard of, and they sent me a recent photo of their father at Thanksgiving dinner, I almost threw up because I was looking at my dead father holding a glass of wine and smiling like he didn't have a care in the world. I spent the following weeks obsessively digging through his social media, and every single thing I found made me hate him more. He had a beautiful wife and 2 kids who got to grow up with a father while I had nothing, and he lived 3 hours away, which meant he had been close enough to reach out this entire time, but clearly never wanted to. I had never received so much as a birthday card from him in 20 years. I found Christmas morning photos with his kids buried in presents, and a photo of him walking his daughter down the aisle at her wedding, and I realized he had given them every single moment he denied me. His wife hosted about hosting Christmas Eve dinner, and that was when I decided I was done letting him live his happy little life without consequences. I got in my car and drove 3 hours with my hands shaking while I rehearsed my speech about everything I had been robbed of and all the ways he had destroyed me by disappearing. I thought about my mother working double shifts to keep us afloat while this man bought his new kids everything they ever wanted, and I thought about every Father's Day I spent crying at a grave that apparently had nothing in it. And by the time I pulled up to his house with the lights glowing warm in the windows and laughter spilling out from inside, I was so angry I could barely breathe. I could see them through the window gathered around a Christmas tree exchanging gifts and hugging each other while I stood alone in the cold with nothing but 20 years of grief and a fistful of screenshots. I marched up to the front door and pounded on it until the wreath fell off. He answered with a confused smile that vanished the instant he saw my face, and I watched the color drain out of him completely as he grabbed the doorframe like his legs were about to give out. He whispered something I didn't understand at first, a name that sounded like Maeve, and then he said it again louder like he was begging me to confirm it. "My name is Autumn," I spat at him, "and I'm the daughter you abandoned 20 years ago so you could start your perfect little replacement family." He started sobbing so hard he could barely stand, and his wife came running to see what was happening, and she looked at my face and her hand flew to her mouth and she said, "Oh my god, it's really her." I told them both to stop playing whatever sick game this was because I came here to get answers, and I wasn't leaving until someone explained why he faked his own death. "I didn't fake anything," he choked out. "Your mother took you and vanished in the middle of the night, and I've been looking for you ever since." I laughed in his face and told him that was the most pathetic lie I had ever heard because my mother was the one who had to pick up the pieces after he abandoned us, and she was the one who worked herself to the bone to give me a life while he was here playing house with his new family. He just stood there shaking his head and crying and saying no, no, no over and over like I was the one who had it wrong. His wife touched his arm and then disappeared into another room, and she came back holding a thick folder stuffed with papers and put it in my hands and told me to look at it before I said another word. It was full of private investigator reports and court documents and returned letters addressed to a girl named Maeve at dozens of different addresses, and I felt my hands start to shake as I flipped through page after page. "I wrote you every single birthday," my father said quietly, "and every single one came back unopened." He told me my mother had been cheating on him, and when he confronted her about it, she ran and took me with her. I kept flipping through the folder looking for proof that this was all some elaborate lie, but all I found was 20 years of a man desperately trying to find a daughter who had been stolen from him. I called my mother right there from his living room, and when she answered with a cheerful "Merry Christmas," I asked her one question: "Who is Maeve?"